Hello and welcome to HW News. The Delhi High Court on Tuesday granted bail to three student activists, Natasha Narwal, Devangana Kalita, and Asif Iqbal Tanha, after they were arrested in May 2020 under the draconian UAPA Act by the Delhi police for their role in the anti-CA NRC protests and the Northeast Delhi riots in February 2020. The court spelled out in clear words that the right to protest cannot be qualified as a terror act under the UAPA, and in a strong precedent going forward, also pulled up the frivolous use of this draconian act by the police and the union government. At the time of recording this video, the Delhi police has filed an appeal against the High Court order in the Supreme Court and also delayed the release of these activists by over 36 hours after it sought time from a lower court to verify the addresses of the accused.
The three student activists were finally released on Thursday evening after a Delhi court ordered the same to be done immediately. Surrounded by family, friends, and the media, the three activists chanted slogans like Lal Salam and Inqilab Zindabad while emotionally hugging their loved ones. Natasha and Devangana thanked everyone for their support and, hitting out at the government, said that their spirit will not be deterred even after this incarceration.
In this video, we will look at the comments made by the Delhi High Court, the significance of it, what exactly is the issue and the reasons behind the misuse of the UAPA Act, and what it means for other political prisoners going forward. Let's begin. Now, in a strongly worded order and an indictment of the Delhi police and the union government, the Delhi High Court in Natasha Narwal's bail order said, and I quote, "We are constrained to express that it seems that in its anxiety to suppress dissent in the mind of the state, the line between the constitutionally guaranteed right to protest and terrorist activity seems to be getting somewhat blurred." End quote. A division bench comprising of Justice Siddharth Mridul and Justice Anup Bambani also observed that if this mindset gains traction, it would be quote unquote a sad day for democracy. Quoting sections of the UAPA Act of 1967 and a string of key Supreme Court rulings on terrorism and terror laws, the court reasoned that the more stringent a penal provision is, the more strictly it must be construed. By doing so, it raised the bar for the state to book an individual for terrorism under the UAPA. The court's basis in this warning of excessive usage of the UAPA Act isn't unfounded. According to data provided by the Home Ministry in Parliament in March 2021, there has been a 72% rise in the number of people arrested under this anti-terror law in 2019 compared to 2015. A total of 1226 cases were registered under UAPA in 2019, which is a sharp rise from 897 in 2015. So what exactly is the UAPA Act and why is it being used so often? Basically, it is an anti-terror law that empowers the union government to designate a person as a terrorist. Interestingly, there is no provision as such that defines clearly the words like terror or terrorists. The Act does not clarify the standard of proof required to establish that an individual is involved or likely to be involved in terrorist activities. Section 15 of the Act, however, defines the terrorist act as any act committed with the intent to threaten or likely to threaten the unity, integrity, security, economic security or sovereignty of India, or with intent to strike terror or likely to strike terror in the people or any section of the people in India or in any foreign country. More importantly, given the stringent nature of the Act, securing bail for offences related to UAPA is nearly impossible. It's only in Natasha Narwal's case when she was granted interim bail for 3 weeks by the High Court after she lost her father Mahavir Narwal to COVID last month to perform the last rites. Now back to the arguments in the court. The Delhi police argued that this very clause of intent to strike terror can be invoked. Rejecting this interpretation, the court said such provisions have to be construed strictly and narrowly. In the 17,500 page charge sheet filed last year by the Delhi police, the court said it did not find any prima facie evidence against the three accused to suggest that their acts qualified for the UAPA. Mind you, there is no legal definition that can exactly say what this intent means. After Justice D.Y. Chandrachud's remark in the Supreme Court indicating that the sedition law must be relooked, the Delhi High Court's order, after a year of incarceration of these student activists, sets the right legal precedent, especially for so many activists, journalists and public intellectuals, including the accused in the Bhima Koregaon case, charged under the draconian law of UAPA. Whether laws like UAPA or sedition should be scrapped together or amended to address the ambiguities is a debate for another day. The fact remains that the High Court's order offers a ray of hope of speedy justice and reminds the lawmakers that the excessive usage of such laws will be, as the court puts it, a sad day for democracy. Tell us what you think about it in the comment section below. If you like this video, please press the like button, subscribe to HW News for more updates, and you can also visit our website www.hwnews.in. Thanks for watching.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.